Hi, welcome back to another video, and unsurprisingly it's Project Cars 3 again, but in this one we're going to take a look at the Livery Editor. So what I want to start off with first of all is the fact that if you go into Teams, you can then select via Edit Manufacturer's standard liveries. You can select some motorsport ones as well, and within here you can also change your tyres, your rims. So if you don't want to go into the full-blown livery editor, you do still have some options to make the car a little bit different. Oh, you can also change your license plate within here as well. So it's quite a nice little option in that regard. If we then move on to the full-blown livery editor, with this, it's a more simplistic livery editor, and you select your car as you would expect. You go into customize, and when you go into custom rather than team, let me just get to the right point for that. So when you go into custom, you can edit your livery. First of all, you can change the paint, and there's a good range of different paint colours available in there. You've got gloss, matte metallic, flip, and a matte flip finish. So there's quite a range within there. One nice thing that a lot of other colour selectors get wrong is you can actually select a colour here, and you can then flip between the different paint finishes to see how they would look, which is quite a nice thing to be able to do. Because sometimes in some livery editors you have to pretty much start from scratch again. So as you can see here, we're just looking through the gloss finishes, and there is a very wide range of colour options available to you. Or obviously you could go and select one of the manufacturer ones as your base. So I want to go for a red here, so let's have a look at that. And as you can see, just by flipping across the tabs, we've moved from the gloss over to the flip finish, which is actually quite a nice looking shade on the Mustang, but it's not what I really wanted to go for on this, so I think we'll move to a metallic on this. So the decal editor itself, or rather livery editor itself, is quite simple. You're not into the Forza or the Gran Turismo level of detail here. What you instead have is a series of different designs, and these are going to be expanded upon, I believe, with the DLC packages, stripes, camouflage, and then some miscellaneous ones. Some of them are going to suit some cars better than others, but there's a reasonable range in there. Some of them, as I say, you do need to try them on the car to know if they're going to look okay, because some of them look very odd on certain models of car, where others look good. For the Mustang, I think I'm just going to go for a stripe, because being perfectly honest, I think it's what fits the car reasonably well, and want something nice and clean, so we'll go for the traditional side stripe here. Now, once you've selected your pattern, you can then change the primary colour, secondary colour and tertiary colour. Now, what this actually changes will very much depend on the pattern you've got on the car, and not all of them. This one, for example, doesn't have a tertiary colour on there. I want to leave these as black because it kind of suits the look I'm going for. You've then got the ability to put on decals. Now, you can't exactly position the decals. You have to pick a location and a size from a preset list, and it will then place them on there for you in that location. Now, that could be considered to be a bit limiting in that regard, but it does make it very quick and very easy to put together liveries. If I could pick one change for this, being perfectly honest, it would be the ability to copy everything from left to right or right to left, so from side to side, because at the present moment you have to flick between the two. It's not hideously time consuming, in all honesty, it's really not, but it would just speed it up that little bit more. So I'm just going to scrub past the placing of the decals and move on to the placing of the, here we go, the race number. So you can set your race number, and you can just have a plain number in a different set of styles, and you can then add in a background to it as well. So you've got a kind of a range of different number backgrounds on there that you can select. pick your race number, change the colour of your race number, although, being perfectly honest, much other than black does get quite tricky to see, so I think most of these are going to end up black. And as you can see, that does place it on both sides of the car and on the bonnet for you, so you don't have to place that one in each of the individual locations, and it's that kind of option I would like in the decal side of things. You can then tweak your number plate, so you can change the actual text on your number plate. I did try putting in SCAF UK, but not to a major surprise, it thinks I'm trying to be rude here, so it doesn't allow me to have that. So I just ended up having to go for something a bit more plain. You can then select your number plate background. And there's a good range of these again available, and there's a good range of American, Japanese and European ones, and those styles do change depending on what car you're putting it on. I did one for the Alpine A110, and the number plate on there had a European format on there, which, if you're not familiar with it, is not as high, but it's much wider, and it gave me European style plates, so French plates, UK plates, etc, on there, which is quite a nice touch on there. So I've selected my background here, and I'll scrub past, but this is where I tried putting in SCAF UK a few times, and it didn't like me doing that. We can then change our wheels, and you can change the actual wheel rims you're using, and depending on the rim you go for, you may be able to size these up or down. So again, I'm just scrubbing through the different ones here. I wanted something that was a fairly traditional dish design in two-tone, and you can again on some of these select the paint finish on there as well as the paint colour. So you've got a range of options in there that you can go for, which is quite nice. One thing I would like about that is the ability to match that to the body colour if you want automatically, rather than having to search for it. And here, as you see, we can then select the size. Now you can go up to something ridiculous. 18s on a Mustang Fastback just looks wrong, so I've gone for the 16s here. I think that's a reasonable compromise. And you can then select from a range of tyre manufacturers and change the look and feel of the tyres. If you're not happy with manufacturers, there is a range of SMS ones which have fantasy manufacturers and designs on them, and gives you quite a range of options on there. It is important to note that changing the tyres in this way, and it's the same with the rim size, appears to make no difference whatsoever to the performance or the handling of the car in question at all. So they all still handle exactly the same, regardless of what you pick in here. These are purely visual changes that you're looking at. So for this one, I think, if I recall correctly, I went for a Firestone, given Ford's association at the time with Firestone. So there we go. There's our finished livery, looking quite resplendent. Quite a simple one. You can go for anything from quite simple to in-depth. You can then save that into my styles, and I've got a couple of designs here, one from my Evo and the one I've just created. And as you can see, this allows you to very quickly and easily flick between different livery designs, which is a nice thing to be able to do. And just if we swap out to the Evo here, we can see doing the same thing in the Evo. So if I now go into my styles in the Evo, I can swap between a version of the livery for the Mustang and the one that I created for the Evo. And this is one of the advantages of having this limited livery editor, because you would not be able to do such a thing if you were using a more in-depth livery editor. And so now we can have a look at doing exactly that with the A110 that I've just picked up. And you will notice that some liveries look better on certain cars than others, and it does change things like where the race number, for example, is placed on the car depending on the vehicle you pick. But that's a quick look at the livery editor for Project Cars 3. If you found this useful, please do drop me a like, and if you want to see more content like this, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified when further videos are uploaded. Thanks very much. Bye.